Hello, Yaxley infants, and it's Reverend Sarah, and I'm going to do another final assembly for the end of term because this is your last week of term. You have done so incredibly well, and all the changes you've dealt with this year, all the different things that you've had to do. So well done, and you can look forward to your Easter holiday very soon. And well done to all your teachers and school staff as well. And so it's your final week before the Easter holidays, and I want to tell you a little bit about the Easter story. I wanted to tell you a little bit about what do we think about in church at Easter. Well, the first thing that we think about, I'm trying not to knock the camera and the computer, is these. So next Sunday, which is the 28th of March, is Palm Sunday. And we give out these palm crosses. They are made out of palm leaves. Because we remember on Palm Sunday that Jesus rode through the streets of Jerusalem on a donkey. And people knew who he was, and they were so excited to see him. And so people took off their coats and their cloaks. They pulled palm branches down from the trees. And they waved them, they laid them in front of Jesus for the donkey to tread over, to go over with Jesus on them. And they shouted, Hosanna. There's a sign for Hosanna, which is this. It's like waving and be real. So Hosanna in the highest. They shouted Hosanna, which is a word of praise, because they were so happy and so excited to see Jesus. Now, Palm Sunday, when we give out our palm crosses, is the first Sunday, it's the first day of Holy Week. And as we go into the first week of your half term, we have Holy Week. Now, Holy Week is a time when Christians will take some time to think about how special Holy Week and Easter is. And we talked about how Lent is a season of preparation, of getting ourselves ready. Well, Holy Week is a time again we get ourselves ready for Easter. So in church, we're going to have some extra services, although a lot of them will be online at this time. And then we come to the Thursday of Holy Week, and that's called Maundy Thursday. Now, Maundy Thursday is a day when Jesus did something very special with his friends, something that we all really long to do at this time. But he had a meal with his friends. He invited them to come to a room. There was a big table. There were 12 of his friends there, and he had a very special meal with them. And in church, in normal times, we celebrate that meal. We call it communion. And we have a wafer on a plate, which we remember being the body. And then we have a cup, which usually has wine in, which we remember being the blood. Now that all sounds a little bit gory, I know. But at this meal, Jesus wanted to tell them about who he was. He wanted to remind them that he was going to go and do something else after this and they wouldn't see him. But he took the bread and he broke it and he shared it with his friends. And he did this and said, do this in remembrance of me. So do this to remember me. So Jesus gave his friends and his disciples some instructions on what they needed to do when Jesus was no longer with them. And they were to celebrate with the bread and the wine and remember this very special meal that Jesus and his friends had together. At the end of this meal, Jesus went to pray, because Jesus was going to go through a very difficult time. So he went off to pray. He took some of his friends with him, and they all fell asleep, because it's probably quite late at night at this point. But Jesus went and prayed to God. And then we come into the next day, which is called Good Friday. Now that is such a strange name for the day that it is, because on Good Friday, I'm just going to pick something else up from here. Oops-a-daisy. We remember the cross. Now I'm going to step aside and you can see the beautiful picture behind me again. I know you've seen it before, but you can see the cross on that picture. And that's a picture that reminds us of Jesus' love and care for us. Now I love this cross. Can you see what it's got in the middle of it? It's got a heart. It's very clever. It's all made out of rolls of paper. But in the centre of this cross is a heart. And it reminds us that on Good Friday, when Jesus went to the cross, he did that because he loves us. Because the heart shows us love, doesn't it? And we remember Jesus' love. So Good Friday was actually a very sad day for Jesus' friends and family. But Jesus knew that he had to go to the cross to show his love for each one of us. So we remember on Good Friday that Jesus died on that cross, and his friends took him down from the cross and they put him in an empty tomb, a little bit like a cave. You think about if you've been to the beach. They put him there and they put a big, big stone in front of this cave. And then we come to the Saturday of the week. And the Saturday is a little bit like a pause. It's a little bit like waiting. We wait and we watch and we see what's going to happen in this amazing story. And then do you know when we come to the Sunday, what happens? Well, on Easter Sunday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be awake and up early to see the sun rise. And I'm going to be doing a service on Facebook. Because on Easter Day, Christians celebrate that Jesus is risen. We are celebrating that he came back from that tomb and he rose again, and he then spent time with his family and his friends, showing them a little bit more about who he is. And so on Easter Sunday morning, I want you to think of it being really early in the morning, and the sun is just coming up. Now, I'm not a very good early morning person, but we remember that on that day, Jesus' friends went back to that tomb, to that cave, and they expected to find that big stone still against that cave. But when they got there, the stone had been rolled away, and there were some strips of cloth just lying inside it. Now, I don't know if you can see behind me, there's one there and there's one there. If you can see that on the video, they are angels. And Jesus' friends, as they came to the tomb, were really shocked and really surprised and really worried because Jesus wasn't there. But there were some angels there. And the angels said, "Who are you looking for?" They said, "Well, we're looking for Jesus. We wanted to come and see him." And the angels said, "Do not be afraid. He's not here, but he is risen." Jesus had risen from the dead. Now, we use a very long word for that in the church, which is resurrection. And we think about how Jesus came back to life, which is the most amazing story. And we remember that Jesus is the light of the world. We've talked about this in other assemblies, about how when all the difficult things are in the world, how when things are really dark and difficult, Jesus is still the light and the good in the world. And so on Easter Day, you might be celebrating, maybe you might have some chocolate, I don't know, I hope I do. There may be other things that you do, you have a special meal. We would normally, of course, spend time with friends and family, which is more difficult at the moment. But Easter for Christians is a time of celebration, because we remember that Jesus is still alive and is still with us. And so we come to Easter Sunday and we say lots of joyful words. We sing joyfully when we're allowed to, because we love Easter Day. It's a very special day in the Christian calendar. So if you come to your week off, your 2 weeks off, your holiday, I wonder what you are looking forward to. What are you hoping for during that time? Well, in your first week off, Christians and the church here will be getting ready for Easter Day and holding lots of different services. So let's take a moment and think, what did you like about those stories, about our Easter stories? What were you wondering about? What were your questions about that? We take a little bit of time just to think, and then I will say a prayer. And you can join in if you want by saying Amen at the end. So let's have some thinking time. So as you hold all those thoughts and questions and wonderings, I'm going to pray. Loving God, we thank you for Easter and for the joy and happiness that we have at Easter time. We remember in the Easter stories all that happened to Jesus, and we look forward to this Easter week and our half-term, our holiday, not our half-term, but our holiday away from school and spending time doing some different things. So I pray that we all stay safe during our Easter break. And you can join in and say Amen if you want to. Well, Yaxley, it's been lovely joining with you this term, and I'll be back with you again next term, and we'll be talking about some different things then. If you've been part of Explorers in the past, Explorers will be starting on Monday the 29th. If you've not been part of Explorers before, then tell your parents to come next week and come and get a bag from outside church. And there'll be lots of different activities for you to take part in, looking around the village, looking again at our Easter story, and thinking about hope as well. So we'd love you to be part of Explorers. And if your parents will put anything on Facebook to show us what you've been doing, we'd really enjoy seeing that. Have a lovely Easter. Take care and do come and explore with us in the Easter holidays. See you after the holiday. Take care. Bye.